Visual to blindness. Season 1, Episode 3.
What are you taking in the school right now?
Well, right now it's like I said, it's blind rehabilitation is what it is. The school,
That's what
and so they teach you, So they teach you things like how to use the white cane. To get around and the proper technique for using the white cane, and how to use the cane for crossing streets, and how to get around outside with the cane, how to get around inside, different types of buildings with the cane. And also, let's say I have another, I have the other class, which actually I finished with this class, but it's technology, where they teach you how to use JAWS and to be able to use the computer using all keyboard commands, not using the mouse, because of course when you're sighted you use mouse, and just use the pointer and click. But with the keyboard, and of course I'm doing the gesture with my hands as if you can see me.
Yeah.
But so now using JAWS, you have to do everything with the keyboard and using keyboard commands. So I was learning that, and also learning how to prepare to go back to work, resume writing and stuff like that. How to apply for jobs and interview, and how that differs. How that's different. As a blind person going to an interview versus a sighted person. How to kind of the ways to talk to the person that's giving the interview, and if you should discuss your blindness with them, and asking for accommodations that you might need in the workplace, that kind of thing. So I have a class that's about the job. I'm also taking Braille, because I want to learn to read Braille. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a good enough Braille reader to where I would read an entire book in Braille. It's just too easy to listen to an audiobook or use a screen reader or something like that. But I want to be able to at least read Braille. So that, for example, I'm not sure how it is. I believe it's this way in Canada. I know it's this way in the States mostly. I'm not sure what other places, but for example, when I step into an elevator, let's say I'm going to a job and I have to get into the elevator. Most elevators here in the States now, they have Braille on them. So, it's helpful to be able to read Braille so you can go to the right place in the elevator. Some places sometimes I go in a restaurant, they'll offer me a Braille menu. And also labeling things in my home, like for cooking, different seasonings and things like that. I want to be able to label those in Braille and be able to read it. So I want to at least have that much familiarity with Braille to where I can, write notes in Braille and label things, that sort of thing, because sometimes you can't always rely on the screen reader or something like that, And it's useful to be able to. So I'm taking Braille, and I'm getting pretty good at it. I'm not very fast, but at least I know how to read it. I'm not very quick at it, but I can at least read it and know what I'm reading. So that's useful. So that's one of the classes that I'm taking. That's actually it, and I'm actually going to be finished next Friday. Next Friday is my last day, and then I'm doing another program, which is going to be just that program is just focused on employment and getting your resume straight. Which my resume is pretty good. I have a lot of work experience, and so that's not too bad. But it's that's what the class is. It's all about resume writing, using the internet to find jobs, and networking and different stuff. So I'm going to be doing that program, and then after that's finished, which would be the end of April, and then I'm going to hopefully be going back to work.
Congratulations for that. You are doing better. You're doing good for yourself. That's pretty good.
Yes, a lot of people don't know this, but actually, the numbers, according to the numbers, 75% of visually impaired people, that's any visually impairment, worldwide, they don't have a job. And when it comes to total blindness, it's something like 99% of blind people don't, have a job. And so for me, this is worldwide. And so, to me, it's important for me to work, to be able to support myself, because otherwise, what am I going to do? You need money and you have to work.
I see.
Also, it's important, I think, because a lot of people think that we, as blind people, they just assume that we can't do things.
That's the thing.
Because they think about, well, what would I do as a sighted person if I woke up tomorrow and I didn't have any sight? And they're like, well, I wouldn't be able to do my job. So they figure that we can't work or do a job. But the thing is, we can adapt and we learn, and we can definitely work. And a lot of blind people, a lot of us need to just have the motivation. We have the abilities, and we can learn the skills. It might not be the exact job we want to do. For example, you're not going to be a truck driver if you're blind, obviously. You're probably not going to, you may not be able to do, brain surgery if you're blind. Of course, or just whatever it is that you might want to do. For me, growing up, I like playing hockey. Well, I wasn't going to be good enough to play pro hockey as a visually impaired person. That just wasn't going to happen. So it might not be the job that you dream of. But you can be productive, and you can go out and work, and you can have some pride in the fact that you're taking care of yourself and not relying on other people to, to me, for me, I'm a very independent person. I was always that way. I never wanted help. I always wanted to do things for myself, and I was always, I'm going to find a way to do, and, I'm going to find a way to do what I need to do, whether it's working or just, just in my daily, life. And, to me, it's important.
It's
important for us.
For sure.
To be able to do that just for our own, for our own kind of self-esteem, even if for nothing else, to be able to get up every day and say, I can do for myself. I don't need, I don't need to always be asking someone else to help me. I can do things on my own time. And
true. What were you doing? Which job were you doing before all this happened to you?
Well, I've had many jobs.
Like the last one you did, and then you became a total blind.
Okay, well, the last job I did actually wasn't that great of a job. I was unloading trucks. I was working for a store. I was unloading trucks, and I did that until my vision got too bad that I couldn't kind of read the labels to be able to put stuff where it needed to go. But so yes, I was unloading trucks. But I've had different jobs. I used to sell and write auto insurance policies. I did that for many years. I was a supervisor in a grocery store for many, 6 or 7 years. I did that. And
you were passion sighted at that time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is all when I still had my sight, because what I did was I went to university, and I got a bachelor's degree, but I got it in philosophy. And if you get a degree in philosophy, you really need to go to graduate school to be able to do anything with it. What I planned to do is I was going to teach, possibly at the university level. That was what I wanted to do. But then I finished my bachelor's degree. And I started working, and I was making money. This was in the grocery. I was working full time, and I was making money. And I said, I don't want to spend money and go to grad school. I'd rather work and make money. But really, I was thinking short term. I should have went back and finished and got my graduate degree at the time. But you're working, and you have money coming in, and you want to be able to do what you want to do, rather than always spending money to go to school. So I was working, and then the next thing I got married, I had a child, and so then I had to work because I had to support the family and stuff. So then after that, it's like, well, the time has passed for going back to school.
But, I see.
So that really kind of limited me. With the bachelor's degree, again, it's philosophy degree. You would need to have usually a graduate degree to really do anything with it. But I'm trying to do some different things now, which is kind of funny, because I'm hoping that once I finish with this, I may end up with a better job now as a blind person than I ever had when I had vision. So that'll be something, I can tell people about, that I actually have a better job as a blind man than I did as a man with vision. So
that's awesome.
I'm hoping that things go that way. I have a couple of things that I maybe want to do, and we'll see where it goes.
For sure. Now, I appreciate everything that you have shared with us. To finish off, I have 2 questions here, and for finishing, I would like to ask you 2 questions here. So let's start with the first one.
Sure.
You mentioned you have a daughter. You mentioned something like you got married, right?
Yes.
You know, share with us. As I said before, I send you the copy of this interview. Like, if you are not comfortable to speak about it, it's all good. But I would appreciate you sharing with us, like, uh, if you are married or not. Of which I understand you are, according to what I have tried to understand from you, because I have a friend of mine. Why I'm asking this, it's I have a friend of mine who wants to start a show called VIP Parent, which is very
Okay.
visually impaired parents. That's the
Yes.
yeah. So, and I asked her, like, why do you think you want to start this show? And she responded to me like, you know, people with vision out there in the community, they have this perception of and stigma, like a person who is blind or total or is visually impaired cannot build a house, like to have married and kids and everything. What would you say about that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, of course, we can do that, and it's a good topic. And yes, I've kind of experienced that a little bit. I was actually I'm actually in another group, a social media group, for blind people, and there was a lady on there, and she's blind. I guess I'm not sure how much vision she has anyway, but I guess she found that people were kind of confronting her in a very aggressive way, talking about, you're a blind person, how can you parent, a child, and, telling her that she was irresponsible to have a child when she really can't take care of the child because she's blind, which is nonsense. And, now for me, as I said, I always kind of considered myself a sighted person. Even though I was visually impaired, I considered myself sighted, and so I've always, this is a whole other topic. I've always dated sighted women just because those are the women that I meet. I'm in this sighted world, and so I haven't met many blind or visually impaired women. So it wasn't really a choice. It's just who I was meeting. So I've always dated sighted women. Yes, I'm married. I've been married for 18 years, and my daughter is 19.
Awesome.
So, so absolutely, as a visually impaired person, of course, you can be responsible. You can have kids. You can get married. Most of us do.
For sure.
We're not, just because we're blind, we're not growing old and single, and we get married, we date and stuff like that. So, and you can have kids. Now, for me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I want to stress that, because I'm not judging. I'm not judging anyone. For me now, as a blind person, I'm not sure how comfortable I would be having a child, just because I'm not sure how comfortable I would be doing the daily things that you have to do to raise a baby. You know what I mean? Like, for example, as someone who can't see, how successful am I going to be when it comes time to feed the baby? Am I going to be with the spoon of baby food and putting the baby food in the baby's cheek or up her nose or whatever? You know what I mean? It sounds silly, but it's true.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to change the baby's diaper, and will I be able to see and make sure that the baby is clean? Now, I'm sure there's ways that I could do it. For example, I could bathe the baby, that area every time I change the baby. I could change the baby. You know what I mean? But it would be a lot of work. It would really be a struggle, and I'm not sure if I could be the type of father that I would want to be if I didn't have any vision.
I see.
So for me as a personal choice, I'm not sure if I would choose to have a child as someone who's totally blind. I might. And and again, I really want to go out of my way to say that's just me. That's just my personal choice, and I'm not judging anyone. If you're blind and it's important to you to have a child, by all means do it. Just because we're blind, we can do anything, and we can figure it out. We can find a way to take care of our child. I have no doubt about it. For me, it's just, I don't know if I would be willing to do what I would need to do. I guess is how I'm saying it.
Okay.
And I do think there would be sacrifices, but for me, in my case, my wife is sighted, so that was helpful. So one of us, and that's another thing, a lot of blind people will get angry with you if you talk about date.
Visual to blindness.